Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, your ultimate destination for spine-chilling, adrenaline-packed zombie adventures. In today's thrilling tale, Supermarket Siege, a group of everyday shoppers finds themselves trapped in a grocery store, fighting for survival as a relentless zombie horde crashes through the doors. The stakes are high, the danger is real, and the fight for survival is on. If you love heart-pounding action, suspense, and stories where ordinary people become heroes in the face of a zombie apocalypse, make sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new tale of terror. And if you know someone who enjoys a good zombie thriller, be sure to share this video with them. Together, we'll survive the undead, one story at a time.
The supermarket parking lot buzzed with activity as customers, carts full of groceries, bustled in and out of the sliding doors. It was a busy Saturday afternoon, and the store was having its biggest sale of the year. Shelves were stripped bare of essentials, canned goods, water, and non-perishables. Inside, Sarah Michaels, a 30-year-old grocery clerk, rang up customers at lightning speed, her fingers moving over the register like an experienced pianist. She barely had time to catch her breath between transactions. "Busy day, huh?" her colleague, Tony, said from the adjacent register as he scanned an endless line of items. Sarah chuckled wearily. "You'd think people were preparing for the apocalypse." Tony grinned. "You never know. It's always good to be prepared." Neither of them knew how chillingly accurate that statement was. Across town, reports on the news warned of a viral outbreak, but most people thought it was nothing more than a bad flu spreading. As Sarah took a 5-minute break near the storage room, sipping her water, she scrolled through her phone. An emergency alert flashed on the screen. "Stay indoors. Seek shelter immediately. Avoid contact with infected individuals." Sarah's brow furrowed, but before she could delve deeper into the details, a loud crash from the front of the store interrupted her. Shouts of confusion and fear echoed through the aisles. She ran to the store's entrance, where she found Tony standing with a few customers, staring out of the wide glass windows. Outside, chaos had erupted. Cars were overturned, people ran screaming, and several figures stumbled and lurched through the parking lot, their movements jerky and unnatural. One of the customers, a middle-aged man, tapped the glass nervously. "What the hell is going on?" Before anyone could respond, one of the stumbling figures slammed into the glass doors. Its face was pale, skin hanging off in sickly patches. Its eyes were sunken, hollow, and lifeless, but its mouth moved in a hungry snarl. "Oh my God," Sarah whispered, backing away. The creature slammed into the door again, but this time, it wasn't alone. Dozens more were following, their faces just as twisted, their eyes filled with mindless hunger. "Lock the doors," Tony shouted, rushing to hit the emergency button. The automatic doors hissed as they slid shut, sealing them inside. Panic spread like wildfire through the supermarket as the trapped customers realized what was happening outside. Mothers clutched their children, elderly shoppers trembled in their carts, and a few people made frantic phone calls that went unanswered. "We need to get out of here," someone yelled, but Tony shook his head. "No, we're safer inside. We don't know how many of those things are out there." A man in his mid-30s, built like a linebacker, stepped forward. His name tag read Greg, assistant manager. "Everyone, calm down. We'll be safe here until help arrives." Sarah wasn't so sure. She exchanged a glance with Tony. "How long do you think those doors will hold?" "I don't know," he replied, his voice grim. "But we need to think fast." Sarah's mind raced. The supermarket was a fortress of supplies: water, canned food, first aid. But what good would it be if the zombies broke through the doors? Suddenly, the glass at the front cracked under the force of the pounding creatures, and a chorus of gasps filled the store. "They're getting in," a woman screamed, clutching her toddler. "We need to block the entrance," Tony said. "Greg, can you help?" Greg nodded, and together with a few brave souls, they started dragging heavy pallets and shelves filled with bulk items toward the door, creating a barricade. But it wasn't going to last long. The cracks in the glass spider-webbed, and with every slam, the creatures inched closer to breaking through. Sarah took charge of gathering supplies. Everyone, grab water bottles, canned food, and anything we can use as weapons. We have to be ready. She led a group to the camping aisle, where they gathered flashlights, knives, and even some propane tanks. Every sound outside made their hearts race, but they moved quickly, knowing time was running out. Greg, meanwhile, stationed people at various points of the store, trying to create makeshift defenses with shopping carts, shelves, and anything they could push or pull. The plan was simple: survive until help came. If help came, the growls outside grew louder, and Sarah knew it was only a matter of time before the barricade fell. The store's security cameras flickered, showing the parking lot teeming with zombies. Hundreds now. We need a plan, Tony whispered to her. When they break through, it's going to be chaos. Sarah bit her lip, her eyes darting around. We retreat to the back, lock ourselves in the storage rooms. They're reinforced. Those things won't break through easily. Tony nodded. Okay, we tell everyone. Before he could finish, a deafening crash echoed through the store. The front glass shattered, and the zombies surged in like a flood. Chaos erupted. People screamed and scattered as the first wave of zombies burst through the barricade. A man swung a metal bat wildly, connecting with one of the creature's heads. It went down, but more swarmed in. Greg and Tony tried to hold the line, pushing carts and crates into the path of the advancing horde, but it was futile. The zombies were too many. Fall back, Sarah screamed, grabbing Tony's arm and pulling him toward the back of the store. The group of survivors, around 20 in total, scrambled to retreat as the zombies spread through the aisles, knocking over displays and tearing at anyone who didn't move fast enough. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she led the survivors toward the storage area, shoving open the heavy door to the stockroom. Get in now. One by one, they filed in, slamming the door shut just as a zombie lunged at the entrance. The sound of snarling and scratching echoed through the steel. Are we safe? A woman asked, trembling. For now, Tony said, breathing hard. But they'll find a way and eventually. Sarah's mind raced. They were trapped in the storage room, but they couldn't stay there forever. Supplies would run out, and eventually, the zombies would break through. There's a service exit in the back, Greg said, wiping sweat from his brow. It leads to the loading docks, but they might be swarming with those things too. We don't have a choice, Sarah said. If we stay here, we'll die. We need to move. The group gathered what they could: knives, broomsticks, anything to defend themselves. Sarah grabbed a propane tank, her mind working fast. If we can lure the zombies into a confined area and blow this up, it might give us enough time to escape through the docks. Tony raised an eyebrow. That's a crazy plan. It's the only plan, Sarah shot back. Reluctantly, the group agreed. Greg led them to the loading docks, but as they moved, the groaning of the zombies grew louder. They were getting closer, breaking through the last defenses. Sarah set the propane tank in the center of the narrow loading area, pulling out a lighter she had found in the camping section. Everyone, back up, she yelled. The zombies had found them, swarming into the narrow corridor. With shaking hands, Sarah lit the propane tank's valve, tossed the lighter, and sprinted for the exit. The explosion rocked the building, sending a wave of heat and fire through the loading dock. Zombies were incinerated instantly, and the force of the blast knocked Sarah to the ground. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, the survivors staggered to their feet, coughing through the smoke. We made it, Tony said, breathless. We actually made it. But Sarah knew the danger wasn't over. As they emerged into the loading docks, the city beyond the supermarket was in flames. Zombies filled the streets, and the sky was a dark, ominous shade of red. We need to find a safe place, Sarah said, her voice steely with resolve. This was just the beginning. The group of survivors looked out at the burning city, realizing the world had changed forever. The supermarket had been their fortress, but out here, there were no walls, no doors to lock behind them, just survival. Sarah took a deep breath, gripping the makeshift weapon in her hand. Let's move. Stay together. We're going to get through this. As the group made their way into the night, beginning of a long, bloody fight for survival.